Hey everybody, welcome back to Jaraci Cup 5. Continuing coverage now of the group stage. It's going to be between... Oh no. It's aluminum, okay? I'm an American. I'm sorry, Wooji. Golly. Anyway, it's going to be between Procyon and letsrock. Procyon, a player that we've seen before, and he started as kind of a noob, I think as everyone does, but in the last tournament we were quite impressed with what he was able to do. So this is definitely kind of an up-and-coming player you sort of want to be watching for. Going to be playing as the Galzian, red on black. Campaign colors, I believe. Quite happy to see that. No, A-game. You mistook what I said. He was, and now he is not. He is a slayer. Meanwhile, his opponent, though, total newcomer to the DOK scene from what I know. Obviously, if you've been watching Balcora Cup 2, you'll see him. He's the teammate of Fear. It's going to be letsrock. Rocking the Conf colors on Coalition. letsrock, really, one of the oldest players. Well, perhaps I am wrong. He's definitely a newcomer to the channel, though. Never have cast a game of his before. I've been watching him in BC2, though, and he's pretty impressive to watch. Oh, you mean Procyon. Aha. Maybe my info about players is completely skewed, then. But you know what you're gonna do. Aluminium? Look... Why should it be that way? I don't live in Australia, okay? Okay, Wooji, if you're a linguistics expert, how do you spell aluminium in IPA, and we'll see how good you are at that. And don't look it up or you're a wimp. AV Fab on the way for letsrock, so it looks like it's going to be an AV rush right here. As for Procyon, I'm not exactly sure what his build is. It's not refinery mode, it's not tech, so he's going to be moving in with a PC here. Hey, I care about linguistics, right? I care about linguistics. Anyway, I'm really worried for Procyon. If he's moving with just skims, really, into an AV rush, he might run into some trouble. Carry production is coming out, actually, for letsrock, which I think is a little bit early. And you don't know, so plus 10... Okay, yeah. I think if you don't know IPA, alright, you can say nothing about linguistics, so get out of my face, ho. Anyway, Senskimmer armor coming out here, but AV tech is on the way already, so Procyon maybe going to be in some trouble here. I said Procyon came into the tournament scene as kind of a noob because I remember him losing by making, like, overbuilding skims at first as well, which seems like what he's doing now too. But I remember in the last Jaraci Cup that he played in, which might have been JC3, but I believe it was JC4, I think he had a match against, like, A-Game Inc. or something, and he had a really good showing, and I was like, wow, he's doing well. Like, I was quite impressed at him there. More skimmer upgrades coming out now for Procyon. Again, this is not exactly what he needs here. He kind of needs rail fab, or maybe assault ship tech, and he doesn't seem to know it. This kind of no tech push here is sort of risky in patch. Honestly, kind of in vanilla, too. I mean, your opponent will get used to you doing this if you do it too much, and he'll just AV rush you every game. But this is not even really an unreasonable amount of AVs to see from letsrock. I will say, having armor 1 would be great for him, because it would definitely increase the survivability of these units quite a lot. Sandskimmers, of course, as all light attack vehicles, have fairly high fire rate but low damage, so armor is really a big hindrance to their ability to attack things. But as you can see, AAVs have a very good matchup against Skims, and he's going to jump on this PC, and this is probably a dead PC. And if this is a dead PC, this might just be a dead game, to be honest, but same case for Procyon, he has a lot of resources stacked up here, so if I were him, I'd be building a PC right now, and then saving up for railfab and getting power 1. I think that's kind of what you need to do to survive against this. You're still in a very bad situation, let's make that clear, but you know, maybe you can survive. Definitely building skims, though, into the face of these AVs is not the play. One artifact is scored for him. That's very, very good. Railfab starts getting teched. Okay, we need to see the PC coming out, though, because Railfab, of course, won't do anything if all your units are dead. Oh my, are these AVs backing off here? Because this is a fight that letsrock will just own. He's got his opponent what I like to call a meat grinder. If you've watched me casting, by the way, Smoke could save this AV, but it's not going to come out, unfortunately. Oh no, this AV is safe anyway. We'll just back away without Smoke. He doesn't even need it. If you watch me cast, you'll be very familiar with the concept of the meat grinder, which is basically just that you have things that will kill your opponent's units right as they come out of the PC. So you're just popping out, dying, popping out, dying. You can't build up any units, and your opponent ends up getting a huge number of units to fight you with there. As it stands, though, letsrock has been a bit lazy about this PC chase, and so I still don't know if it gets away here, but it might, honestly, because if it gets under the carrier, we have, you know, a lot of power actually from that artifact. By the way, the PC is on the way here, and a heavy rail is starting to get queued by this PC, so this thing gets away, that's going to be huge for Procyon. And honestly, this should not be happening. Like, I think letsrock really had an easy time, I would say, killing that PC, but he kind of blew it, so that is going to be keeping his opponent in the game here, although it's still a dire situation as AVs are on the main. Second PC is also popping into grave danger, but the heavy rail is out, so if this heavy rail kites well, which it should be instantly selected, pulled back, it's taking damage, but it is going to get armor break on one of these AVs, which will get it killed very quickly to... Oh my gosh, it lives! It lives, actually. That's so big, on 15 HP. Yikes, this is quite scary for Procyon. The rail is going to get killed. Looks like this AV was in range. He needs to be building another one. Now, you notice he's got quite a lot of bank here. He should have been building an AR already over here, and he needs to be building one off of this PC too, but this is definitely taxing his micro, you can see that. This is a situation where players get flustered. This AV really needs to die, I think, for Procyon to live. It is going to go down. So it's going to be one AV against the PC, but 3 of them are back up on the main, and I think this is just kind of a dead... I think this is a dead eco. This is probably a really tough scenario for Procyon to be in. AR is out, and I think it actually evaded the AV. Now that's huge news, because these ARs need to survive if Procyon is going to have any chance in this game. Hashtag Galzian underpowered, man. No, I don't think that. But I certainly am even more anti-OP train when it comes to Galzian. That used to be all the rage, if you remember, back in the day. Looks like Procyon is kind of stabilizing here for now, but things are still going to be really tough for him. Now, you saw Fighter and Gunship Tech finish for letsrock. Really, really good idea. This is quite sentient. Because if Procyon gets a bunch of strike fighters or something, keeps these AVs safe, of course. You don't want to push in unnecessarily with them against ARs. You know that you're going to kind of lose that fight. Keeps the AVs safe, just kind of out of vision of his opponent. Gets a bunch of strike fighters. He can kill off the assault railguns. He can push in once again. And at that point, you know, his next tech switch could be anything, right? I mean, he could be on 3 base already, and then he could just kind of march in with his carrier. He could make, you know, battle cruisers. He can make assault cruisers. He could make bombers. There's like a whole lot of things he can do. So this is still going to be very, very rough for Procyon, but at least he's still in it. He's not dead already. Wuji coming in with the sick burn there. Yeah, let me tell you, Conf used to be mono KSC all day. And they are still a very strong faction, but as a general rule in game design, anytime that the best option is to just make one type of unit, you have a serious flaw in your game design. So I'm very happy to see that the days of mono KSC are no longer around. Here come the AVs, looking for a push here now. This is Torrent Crater, this is kind of the perfect map to be pushing. Whose pick was this, by the way? This was Procyon's pick. He's probably feeling a little bit awkward about it now, because if you get behind on Torrent Crater, it's so hard to defend your main. In fact, these AVs, maybe you could even just kill these assault rails, but like, look at this, they don't need to. The dunes are just really not favorable for the defender. All the salves are going to get wiped here. This is huge damage. And these AVs are going to get out, actually, too. I mean, they're not even going to die. Like, 2 of them, I think, are able to escape here. A lot of strike fighters in the hangar. Holy goodness. Oh, man. He's just going to full wing him, and that should be, like, 2 PC kills, honestly. The alpha damage of that many strike fighters, I think, you're not gonna take sustained fire from the PCs for long. Maybe he'll lose, like, 3, and he'll kill both of these. And at that point, I think Procyon honestly just surrenders. This is getting really bad for him. As for what he should have done, I really can't tell you at this stage. Really, I think all he needed to do was like tech at the beginning rather than just going mono skims here. Oh, not well, I'll tell you that. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, when your opponent is ahead on eco, but also ahead on the units lost tab, that's usually a pretty bad sign. We don't even have, you know, ref mode like close here, so. This is going to be a really rough game if Procyon manages to stay in it. 9 strike fighters launching right now, 10 I guess. And letsrock actually, he's got the bank to make 2 more. If I were him though, I'd be teching with this money. And if I were him, I might tech BC and just try to finish things off. You tech BC, right? And then you make a support cruiser. Hey, look at that. Drive the carrier out here, and then once BC tech is done, you know, you build like 3 of them, and you just drive right on top of your opponent's carrier. Very effective way to win the game when you're ahead. I'd say it's extremely risky if you're not, but we like to call that the party bus strategy. 1 PC goes down. Procyon is making a push, by the way. This is quite a lack of game sense right here, because, you know, like thinking that you can push when you're really kind of like losing your base over and over again. This is quite a bad scenario. AC tech gonna be the choice from letsrock. I can appreciate that as well. Artifact comes out from 2, so he's on power 3, so his carrier is nothing to sniff at either. And he's got money to spend on power reserves if he wants to. I think that would also be a good move. This little attack by Procyon looks kind of good because it's some counterplay, but I mean, honestly, this is really not what he needs right now. Strike fighters are going to come out, they're going to just wreck all these units, and they'll probably kill the PC as well. Missile ship fab being teched by him, I like that, but obviously, you know, you need a PC to build that, and I don't think it's going to be up by the time the strike fighters are done with this little foray here, so I think we're looking at a pretty certain outcome at this stage of the game. Support cruiser getting harped on though, and that is going to be dead at SC, so Procyon will be happy with that damage at least. But I'd say support cruisers much easier to replace than production cruisers. Not only because they're less expensive, but they have much less impact on the game. And letsrock actually not launching his strike fighters here. He could be probably killing this PC if he wanted to. I think this guy also is kind of being left out to dry, because once he comes in for another pass, I think he'll die. Whoa. Yeah, down he goes. Did you hear the bullets hitting the strike fighter? That's actually a sound effect lifted straight from RM. I heard that for just a moment. I had never realized that before. You know what? Procyon doesn't even need, oh, these AVs are so loud. Oh my gosh, what the heck? Okay. Jeez. I can't get away from them. Okay. Anyway, letsrock doesn't even need, I don't know what the smoke there is for. He doesn't even need a strike fighter to launch against this, because these AVs are going to just chase down this PC and kill it. Down he goes. And at this point, I think his best bet is honestly to just use strike fighters to kill the carrier. His best bet for winning this game fast. Being a little bit passive here, I don't really understand that choice particularly well, but artillery being teched even, that's kind of like a late game tech, you know, you expect the game to go on for a while when artillery is being researched. So this is definitely a bit of a sleeper finish by letsrock, I would say, but he is in the extremely dominant position though, so I certainly don't want to make it sound like he's losing. He's done a good job just kind of beating his opponent down this game. And he is officially going full wing, which I love to see. I hate to see it in vanilla. I love to see it in patch because it never happens. Looks like Procyon just gonna ram this mining vessel down the throat of the next warship it sees, if you know what I'm saying. That really is what's going on here. He doesn't really have any power, so PC is gonna pop, but he's coming out into a very dangerous crowd of strike fighters who are angry and want kills. They've used a lot of missiles though, so I guess this PC is probably a bit safe for now, but you can see it definitely getting chunked there. Youch. Uh-oh, strike fighter wants to die. No, Billy, don't do it. Oh, oh no. But these AVs here, they're in a good position to kill this this PC if they want to get it. And I think they do. That's got to be the play here, but they're actually just going to go for the salves instead. You know, I can respect that as well. But killing your opponent's PC is definitely kind of, you know, crippling damage. By the way, it's worth noting, full wing is pretty nerfed in patch. I think, you know what, I thought that actually there were more strike fighters you could make without, like in vanilla, but I guess it's only 3 that you can't get. No ejector seats for aircraft. Well, I think what you gotta realize is that Karuk is a pretty inhospitable place. I'm pretty sure if you eject from your strike fighter, you're dead anyway. It's kind of like fighting over the ocean. You know what I mean? Most pilots who ejected in World War II, they did not live if they were fighting in the Pacific Theater. In fact, there's a lot of interesting parallels in DOK about the sands and the ocean because, you know, you have carriers, obviously, you have cruisers, right? The language of DOK is very much inspired off of like naval fighting and stuff. You know, they definitely treat the sands kind of like the ocean, you know what I mean? So I feel like they're almost kind of trying to say, like, in a world with very little ocean and mostly just desert, this is kind of, you know, the way that combat happens. Look at that missile ship barrage. Oh my gosh. Look at that freaking missile ship barrage. It damages like all of these guys down to half. I agree though. This is like dead dot levels of AAV production. I wouldn't even call this Phoenix Steel levels. I'd call this dot levels, alright? Full wing gonna come out now. Start finally doing some damage to this carrier. I've got to say, like I said, this is very much a sleeper finish here. But we do have artillery on the field now. Yeah. What doesn't make sense is a Savant using a popcorn popper, no, an open air popcorn oven as a nuke. Yeah, I've got to say, that seems like kind of a bit of a silly thing. I'm also a bit sad about the direction that they took EMP in, because Homeworld has always been like a very, Homeworld has always been a very, like, realistic game, you know what I mean? If you look at Homeworld 2, the developers definitely had in mind, like, some actual physics and stuff. And things like EMP and, like, the micro-emitter are pretty, like, silly in that sense. Gameplay-wise, they're totally fine, right? Like, okay, we want a unit that does large anti-air damage, or an ability, I guess, that does large anti-air damage, or sorry, AoE damage, right? But does not do a whole lot of, you know, doesn't do a whole lot of, like, alpha damage, right? Like, that's fine from game design stance. Like, yeah, you can easily add something like that. But then, you know, it kind of hurts the aesthetic, I think, of Homeworld a little bit to have some kind of, like, unrealistic things in it. But it's whatever, though. Homeworld is a pretty beautiful game, you know, whatever they put in it, so yeah, will do, Houston. By the way, I gotta say, letsrock really could be finishing this a lot faster. If you use, like, Precision Strike, this triple barrage on this carrier, you'll kill it really fast. But he does go down in the end. So this is going to be a win for letsrock against Procyon. That's quite an achievement, because, like I said, Procyon is definitely better at this game than he ever has been, I would say, or at least he was in the last cup that he participated in. Possibly a bit of rust needing to be kicked off here, but letsrock takes the game. Second game is going to be on Kalash Teeth. This one's letsrock's pick, CVG. I think that makes a lot of sense if you ask me. You talking about the carrier? I think the carrier has kind of like the perfect number of guns on it. You know what I'm saying? Especially because you got to imagine, like, DOK is a big freaking game. People don't think about this. This carrier is 500 meters across, right? So you ask now, like, how big is, say? Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. How big are like the barrels on this gun if this carrier is 500 meters long? We're probably talking like gun barrels that are like 5 meters long or something like that. Actually, that's probably not quite so, but they're still very big. At any rate, you know, warships in real life have bigger guns than that, but these are also like freaking chain guns, so you know, you get the idea that they're pretty beefy. Also, ignore the fact that I have very low texture quality on. I'm trying to increase my frame rates. Yeah, but I mean much higher caliber. Or oh, do you mean like on the PC and stuff? Because yes, on the PC the model is the same for like the gun turrets. But we're talking like gigantic shells being fired from these things. By the way, I gotta say I'm a little disappointed. I think Procyon is not he's not modifying his build here to match what his opponent is doing. He got absolutely murdered by AAV Fab last time. We know AAV Fab is a big thing in CVG, like AAV rushes and stuff. And he's still just kind of building mono skims. Your PC's out, no ref mode coming out, no tech coming out. So I'm really worried for Procyon in this game. Oh wow, I'm looking at that picture you sent me, and that's exactly the same. You're right. I always knew that, you know, DOK was quite realistic actually with like the way that the guns look and stuff. Because I think it looks a little bit silly, like, oh, look at this giant like canister on top of the gun, but that's actually what they do because they need to store, you know, tons of ammo in them. And I believe that's what these are as well in the Sandskimmer, although they may be like movement related. Actually, no, they've got to be movement related. Maybe the ammo for the Sandskimmer is just stored like... Oh no, I forgot. Actually, Gaussian weapons are different. They use like some kind of laser or something. But yeah, that is like literally lifted from real life. The auto turrets on these like big, you know, carriers and stuff. I'm really happy to see that. Because, you know, that's exactly what you think it should be. Oh, I like this from letsrock. I like this quite a lot. A bit of turret cheats coming out on the second. And AVs are out here, though. Again, this is a huge mistake from Procyon, and it's no adaptation at all from last game. He's just kind of going to leave his PC floating out here in the open. And if this gets run down by AVs, he loses the game flat out, and that's honestly probably what's going to happen. So... really worried for Procyon in this game too. This could kind of already be game over. I agree with that. I agree with that. I love things which are grounded in reality. You know what I'm saying? This is one reason why I think Homeworld 1 was so much better than Homeworld 2 story-wise. Because Homeworld 2's story is not grounded in reality at all. But DOK in a lot of senses feels like a very realistic game. You know, things that they do in this game do not seem particularly impossible. In fact, one thing that I kind of wish is that railguns didn't have, like, the trail effect because it looks a little bit silly, but I'm sure they did this for, you know, gameplay purposes, thinking, yeah, look, you're not going to be able to see that railguns are hitting you if you don't do this. By the way, a little tip for letsrock. This is an awesome play that he's doing to, like, put this base runner turret out here. But one thing you want to do is make a probe and just kind of have him floating around here. Because the turret actually has more range than it has vision. So if you've got a probe flying around here, checking out the salvagers, you can be chunking them, even while the carrier is here killing you. So that's a really good thing to do. And Procyon again being quite aggressive with his PC, even after he knows that it's in dire danger. So I gotta say, like, this kind of techless build, it doesn't really work in my opinion. He's really in danger here. This PC, if it goes down, I mean, that is just the game. One thing you'll definitely see letsrock doing here, by the way, this is, I think, a reaction to being mostly an RM player. He focuses actually on the skims. He doesn't focus on the PC. You know, if you're playing remastered and you're on top of your opponent's... If you're on top of your opponent's, like, carrier or something with, like, let's say you're on top of it, like, bombers. That's kind of what this feels like in a lot of ways, because AVs, of course, are not like huge damage dealers or something. What you want to be doing first is killing off his swarm and making sure he can't kill your units, but in DOK, like the Sandskimmers, look how much damage they do to the AV, it's like almost irrelevant. What you want to do first and foremost, if you're on top of his PC, is kill that PC. It's not so if you have LAVs, let's say. Because then you can, but it's a bit of a risk, because if you lose them, you know, you're in trouble, but Your AVs will never die to LAVs, essentially. I mean, they will eventually, but like they take so much damage before they go down, and you can easily kill that PC while you're on top of it. So that's probably what I would kill. Skims on listen to Bozo. No, A game. Look, if you have your opponent's PC here and the AVs are on top of it, you kill the PC. All right, you kill the PC because that is game-ending damage. I think what A-Game is talking about is in other situations when you'll find a PC, and in that case I agree, but like, if you're on top of your opponent's PC, you kill it, man. Even if your opponent is good, they've made a huge blunder, and you're gonna finish that thing off. Also, someone said something else. I missed it. Canister on the top is the electronic fire control systems. Ammo is being fed from beneath the chain gun mount. Oh, really? I didn't know that. So this is all electronics then, huh? Huh. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know that at all. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That would be an explanation for like the dome here and everything, you know? Yeah, that's really cool. Well, you learn something new every day, don't you? Well, looking at that picture that someone sent me, there are actually ladders on these things. But oh my gosh, whoa. It ended. Procyon chooses to surrender here. He knows he's done for. And letsrock is getting 2-0 Procyon. I mean, this is really quite impressive because like I said, Procyon is by no means a bad player here, but I think he made a lot of really questionable moves in this series, and I don't know. letsrock definitely did a good job of punishing them, so he's gonna take the series 2-0. It's kind of crazy. Maintenance ladders, yeah, that makes sense too. Well, that's quite interesting to know. Thanks for the info. I guess we all learned something from this cast, didn't we?